Well, boys, we are back, and the biggest question becomes, is Bioware back? We're checking out Dragon Age, the Veilguard. I'm starting things off, boys. I'm going to go with a 9. This is hitting pretty hard. I got to be honest. It is up there in that Game of the Year discussion. Steve, I'm kicking it over to you. What are you scoring this?
You know what, Drew? This is an awesome game, and I'm actually going a little bit lower than you. I'm actually going for an 8.5 this time. So, how about you, Scott?
Oh, I align with Drew on this one. This is a 9 out of 10 for me. This is quite likely my game of the year.
Wow. Yeah, there's... okay, let me ask you guys this then. Scott, is Bioware back?
I think Bioware is back. This is Bioware at its peak, at least from what I remember in all of my glory years of Mass Effect. It has all of the aspects of that in the writing and the characters that really are the hallmark of a Bioware game. I think they're back.
Yeah, it has definitely been a divisive game that's been out there in discussion for everybody. So it's one of those situations that here we go. This is really my true first time diving into a Dragon Age game. I think, Steve, you're there with me as well, right?
Yes. Yep, this is the first time as well, and we played quite a few similar games to this, but I have to say this one does sort of stand out a lot more compared to the others that we have reviewed previously. And like you said, the Bioware is, I'm loving the voice actors, the voice acting in this game. I actually find the characters are believable as well, and I think that was lacking for me, like we talked about compared to other types of games similar to this, the same kind of genres, and I think this is going to be a long haul game for me.
No, it definitely is. I'm level 24, so I am not technically done the game, but I have ranked in so many hours, which is just keeping me going. Like, I was back on the game this morning because the minute I start a quest, I get the GTA syndrome, is I veer off this way and I'm going that way instead, right? There's just so much content within the game. I am 56 hours in and no signs of slowing down. That's where I am at, right? It is one of the games when I put the controller down, I continue to think of and want to come back, right? The high stakes of the game is basically that you're there to chase down the Dreadwolf because things happen where the gods are back and now it's time to save the world, more or less. That's like the high level story feature, but it is, what a story. Like, the story is so intertwined and so interesting that I wasn't sleeping through this game whatsoever. There's a lot of games lately that I've been playing, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get a little dozy here. The more I play Dragon Age, the more I play, the better the game gets, right? The deeper the game gets, the connection with the characters. My companion party, completely full by the way, is loaded with content, side stories that just keep me going. And often I skip a lot of the side stories. I'll go, okay, I'm gonna beeline the story and just power through the game, right? Not a chance. Not a chance. There are a couple companions I'm like, I don't really care for you, so I won't be doing your side story. But I love Nev, right? I love Nev. I love Bellara, I believe is their name as well. And these characters, they just have such a connection to where I'm at. And Lucanus is, oh man, like everybody, the biggest thing too for me is that everybody has a connection to their homeland, like their hometown, their home village, right? And that's the drawing mechanic that kind of keeps me going, because there is such a connection to these characters that become believable because they come from somewhere already within the game that wants to draw you back into that story. I'm out there doing a side quest. Yeah, I was doing, I think it was Bellara's quest. And then all of a sudden, I run into this haunting figure of a ghost that sends me down this other side quest. And then I eventually come back around after completing that one to get back on the main quest, right? So it's just one thing after another. I haven't even touched about the combat yet, but this is where I'm at so far. Scott, where are you?
Well, I think about a level 14 or 15 right now. I jump into this constantly, so it's kind of hard to track exactly because I spend so much time just running through and doing all of the side stuff. Like you said, it's a matter of point A to B, but you're going to stop 100 different times before you get to B. And that's where the Bioware effect really hits me, because I'm drawn to actually want to do the side quest stuff. Like you said, it's tied to different locations, so okay, well maybe Bellara will bring me to this town and that's fine, we're doing something fun, but along the way I'm finding 2 or 3, sometimes more than that, quests along the way, and those are each just as engaging as the main story. And I think that comes down to the combat. I do want to touch on the combat there, because as you get into the game and the deeper you go, the more options are kind of offered to you, but you also get a grasp of what you're doing. So I'm doing charge attacks, I'm landing combos but holding the last hit on the last one. You know, you release the button at the right time and it does even more damage. These are little intricate things that you pick up as you play, but then you get into some sections kind of later on in the game where you really need to have those skills. So it did kind of skill check me as well. It wasn't just a breeze to run through this, even though I'm going really slow. So I'm kind of doing the RPG grind as I'm playing, and I'm still running up against some challenge, and that's just the perfect balance for me.
What about you, Steve?
I'm probably about 14 hours into this, and I think these kind of games is, I love that, like I said, the voice acting. There's voice acting for everything in this. It's not just the text to talk. But the other thing that keeps me engrossed into this as well is the decision making, because I can imagine there's a lot of talking in this, and I'm sure a lot of people have skipped some of the dialogue just to get back into the game. But this one, I'm actually enjoying the dialogue, because at the end of it, then you might have a decision, and that could change the story or who you have an alliance with.
Yeah.
Because at the end of each quest as well, you also get of your companions of who's on your side or who you bonded with or who you might have upset if you picked the wrong decision, if you didn't side with them. But like Scott was saying about loving the combat as well, it isn't button smashing either. It's actually timed combat. Yeah, you can pick 2 other characters, your companions, to join you on your attack or your mission as you progress through it. And I like the way you can also change your characters as you're exploring as well. You get little areas where you can actually decide who carries on further with you. But you can have some with ice, some with fire. Then I've just unlocked one now. You have like a griffin that can attack as well. And I think this is so cool. It just got me so entertained at the moment, and it has sucked me in. And it looks absolutely amazing as well graphically. The only downside I would say is on the dialogue is some of the lips are out of sync with the characters and the cutscenes.
Yeah.
And I find that my main characters was more polished than when you actually seen a merchant. They seem a bit more blocky. That was the reason for the downing of my score, really, was because of that.
That's fair. I think it's just the world building for me that really sucked me in, right? Even dealing with the Dreadwolf, as known as Solas. What a cool character. Like, really, to have the direction that they took was...
They have real motivation behind that character, too.
Right? Like, every character feels like there's a purpose behind them, and not just tossed in to fill the filler of the game to make it longer for you, right? I think that was the biggest thing. You talked about the combos and stuff you can pull off. The combat, I thought, was so engrossing, so just good. On point of what to do. I always keep somebody who's able to heal me in my party. I think that's the biggest thing for me, right? Is having to be able to, okay, if I'm not able to have enough health potions on me, then if I'm running low, I'll make sure my healer is there with me. But then they have a countdown, so I'm like, I can't keep spamming that. I gotta wait, and now I pull it up, time it. Okay, now I'm good to go. But then I keep progressing forward, constantly looking to adjust my build a little bit too, upgrading certain material, looking.
The skill trees are very big.
Yeah, the skill tree is super cool. I think that's the biggest thing, right? And then when you get to once you reach level 20, you can specialize which way you want to take. And I'm telling you, the specialization I thought was cool because you have your ultimate when you start, but it's pretty weak, right? By the time I hit my ultimate level 20, I'm obliterating people. I got this big lightning thing that's going on, right? And I just engross this whole area. I send a crow down, and it just goes boom, and it lights everybody up. It is so satisfying. I think really what it comes down to, and I've been playing a couple other games lately, they're not hitting the same way that Dragon Age is. Where Dragon Age is that, okay, man, I jump back in this morning, I'm like, it kind of just, it feels like home. Here we go, and away we go. Main character, right? So here's the other thing too. With a lot of big RPGs, main character is not spoken, right? There's no voice overs for it. Our character is
you're meant to
completely
put
spoken.
yourself there.
Yeah, which I understand that direction. I like my character having a voice. I think that's the biggest thing for me. My character is speaking, has purpose, but between my character and who they're talking to, the eye connection is there. That's the other thing too, right? It's not just like staring through somebody. How many times have we seen that? I feel like you're just like you're looking past me or looking past the character you're talking to. there is that polish that is here too. They've been updating the game as well, I think, moving the game forward. So there's a lot of things, but the sense of exploration,
yeah,
is where
That's
it
what I was gonna
really
say.
takes me. Yeah, go ahead, Steve. Continue on.
I was gonna say the exploration, like it is like I found so many hidden chambers and different companions,
Oh, man.
like breaking things, smashing barrels and getting little
Yep.
loot there. But I have to say the lore in this game, there's quite a lot of it around. If
Yes.
you know, it's not like when you're exploring for hours and hours, you can find one sword or a bit of gold piece. There is plenty. You just got to look for it.
Yeah, that's my favorite part about a lot of these games being open world is the urge to explore, and it's something I do in every game, whether it's open or not. So it's really nice to see it's rewarded, but the environment is just as storied as each of the characters, and I think that's kind of what we're digging at. Is it's just such an engrossing world that it's so easy to become invested in it and really get sucked in the whole way through. But I want to highlight that I've not played anything other than Inquisition before, and I only played a little bit of Inquisition. So although the lore is ginormous and expansive, this is the way to get in. This is the easy access point.
No, I think this is the best entry for everybody and anybody to get into, right? My biggest downfall was that they're at puzzle points. I felt like the companions held your hand just a little too much. Ease up a little bit. Let me figure it out. Like, I'm only been here for 2 seconds and you're already telling me how to solve the puzzle. It's like, yo, relax. This is my first game.
The audio cues.
Right? Yeah, just the audio cue. Hey, you should probably go grab that. I'm like, I know. I was making my way there, but you beat me to it. Like, let me figure it out a little bit. That was my biggest drawback out of all of it. But at the end of the day, there's just so much when you get to the lighthouse, which is like your main hub, and then you enter into the crossroads. It's just like this game just keeps continuing to scale up and bring you in other directions that are just endless opportunities. And then there's only certain points you got to beat the big, I can't remember, there's like a big boss of that area, which then unlocks another area. I'm like, everything just keeps and just scaling and getting bigger and bigger. Unbelievable game. I think Dragon Age the Veilguard has got to be on your Game of the Year radar. Yeah, we'll just go with that for me. You guys want to wrap up with something, Scott? What do you got to wrap up with?
Well, I would say just all the controversy of this game, throw that aside. And if it really won't affect you, and that's my honest opinion, is that this game is just so much larger than any of these small topics that are being discussed, that I think you're really doing yourself a disservice by ignoring the game.
Yep, and I'm having such a great time with this game. The best way to describe it for me is even though I went with an 8.5, it is still a contender for a game of the Water years, because it's everything that I'm looking for in this game. If you know what I mean, I like the exploration, I love the combat, the storytelling. I've always been one of those kind of people, and don't miss out on this game. It is awesome. Make sure you check it out.
Yeah, our biggest takeaway
Bioware
at
is
the end
back.
of the day, right, is just don't miss out on Dragon Age the Veilguard.